Hi, I'm Joe Greenmore, and today is Wednesday, June 12th, and we've been following along the narrative of Elijah and the time of no rain. But fortunately, things are about to change. So let's join in on 1 Kings 18, verses 41 through 46. And Elijah said to Ahab, "Go, eat and drink, for there is the sound of heavy rain." So Ahab went off to eat and drink, but Elijah climbed to the top of Mount Carmel, bent down to the ground, and put his face between his knees. "Go and look toward the sea," he told his servant, and he went up and looked. "There is nothing there," he said. 7 times Elijah said, "Go back." The 7th time the servant reported, "A cloud as small as a man's hand is rising from the sea." So Elijah said, "Go and tell Ahab, hitch up your chariot and go down before the rain stops you." Meanwhile, the sky grew black with clouds. The wind rose, a heavy rain started falling, and Ahab rode off to Jezreel. The power of the Lord came on Elijah, and tucking his cloak into his belt, he ran ahead of Ahab all the way to Jezreel. Glory, hallelujah! The drought was finally ended, and the sound of mighty rain was coming upon the land. A couple of years ago here on Cape Cod, we had a dry season in the summer where we had a little less than usual precipitation, and all the signs in the different towns showed you that there was an elevated level of drought, of dryness in the ground, that you needed to do less irrigation only on certain days of the week with your yard, or perhaps no if it was an extreme level of dryness out. So can you imagine what it must have been like after 3.5 years? There was no rain in the land of Israel. What would the warning signs have looked like then? Things must have been awful for a society that was based on agriculture and things growing in their season and growing well. My garden and my grass are awfully green this year after a good rain, and I'm sure if you're a gardener, you've appreciated these early and mid and coming soon late spring rains as well. It's wonderful when things come in their season, and for the prophet Elijah, the time came. The drought ended. We had drought conditions here reminding us of the conditions there in ancient Israel, so perhaps we can relate in some level to what was going on. And when the drought ends, then it's time for the harvest. We start planning for things to grow again and to bring in those crops at their appropriate time. So there's an old song that I want to share with you today called "Bringing in the Sheaves." And it's a reminder that, glory hallelujah, we can bring in God's blessings. Sowing in the morning, sowing seeds of kindness, sowing in the noontide and the dewy eve, waiting for the harvest and the time of reaping, we shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves, we shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves, we shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheaves. Going forth with weeping, sowing for the Master, though the loss sustained our spirit often grieves. When our weeping's over, he will bid us welcome. We shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves. We shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves. We shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheaves. We're reminded in the scriptures that those who sow in peace will raise a harvest of righteousness. May you bring in those good sheaves of sowing and reaping according to God's good grace. Have a wonderful day.